Hello everyone! I hope you're all having a great afternoon. We're so excited to be joining you this afternoon to show off the new ConstructionOnline updates. Today we're going to be talking about the portals, our ClientLink portals, TeamLink portals. We're going to be showing you how you can use the new navigation to share information with your clients, your subcontractors, your vendors, anyone else that is involved in your projects. We're so excited that you're joining us today. My name is Jordan Davis. I'm a senior product specialist here, and I'm joined with Holly Gibson.
Hey everyone.
And we are so excited to share with you the updates to ConstructionOnline. We have been working on this for some time now. We have brought so many enhancements and improvements to the platform, and we're just about ready to get started showing off the updates to not just your navigation and what you see, but what you can share with your clients and anyone else that you're working with to execute your projects faster, more effectively, and more efficiently. So, while you have joined us today, we're really excited to interact with you. If this is the first UDA Technologies webinar that you've joined into, take a look at the GoToWebinar panel where you'll find a box labeled questions. We'd love to know a little bit about you as we go throughout the webinar today and to interact with you to answer any questions that you might have. So if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do on a daily basis, and what you're hoping to learn from the webinar today.
That's right. Also, if you're just joining us, our colleague Sydney Dorsey will also be standing by to answer your questions as we go along. So Jordan and I will do our best to keep up and answer those as we see them coming in. And we do have Sydney standing by to chat with you as we go through the webinar. We can't wait to hear your feedback and questions as we explore the new ClientLink and TeamLink portals. Jordan, I know for me, this is one of my very favorite new tools with the new ConstructionOnline 2019. So I'm really excited to go through and share that with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that we have a number of attendees here with us today who have used ConstructionOnline in the past. I also am seeing some new names and some people that I'm excited to get to know here in the near future. But the clients and TeamLink portals have come a long, long way from where they are. And I know, Holly, we've offered these as a feature in ConstructionOnline for a while now. Can you tell us a little bit about where we came from?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So, especially for those of you who are new to UDA, a little context or perspective about our company and our clients. We've actually seen ConstructionOnline grow over the years to a client base of over 600,000 construction professionals using ConstructionOnline every day to manage their projects. At last count, we were managing just over $70 billion in projects on a daily basis. So a lot of you are out there taking advantage of the tools that ConstructionOnline offers. And, since the beginning, one of the things that people have really found success using ConstructionOnline to help them accomplish is really better communication, a better way to serve their customers and be able to use this platform and take advantage of all the power of using a web platform like ConstructionOnline that really gives you the ability to collaborate with those extended team members. So for many of you, that's empowering communication with your customers through the ClientLink portal. That's empowering communication with subcontractors or vendors or suppliers, those extended team members who maybe are not your employees, but really are an integral part of that project team and making sure that things are executed successfully. And so, over the years, we've seen the use of our ClientLink and TeamLink portals really continue to grow and expand as you guys have kind of really expanded your efforts in terms of not just communicating with your internal team, but seeing the power of utilizing a tool like this with that extended project team.
Yeah, so today we thought it would be a great idea to lay some of the groundwork of what it will take to have a fully functioning portal established in ConstructionOnline to share that information, to share project updates with your subcontractors, to make sure that they're aware of what's coming down the line for the schedule, that they have access to critical project documents and have a place to update and share their own project documentation. Alongside that, you'll have the ability to share important documentation with your clients, and you'll be able to interact with your clients to get their approval and their signatures on important documentation like change orders, for instance. So before we dive into the portal set, we want to make sure that we have a few things in place and make sure that you are taking some notes, because you can take what we're doing today and establish that for your own Construction Online company and your own projects.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll actually dive right in. Now, one of the things that, as you're going through your Construction Online account, one of the things that's important to note that for those of you who are using Construction Online is when you're working with a project, you're really working with information that is intended for you and your internal project team. Nothing is going to get shared automatically without you having control over deciding what gets shared, who becomes part of that team. And so there are a few things that we would want to look at setting up. The first one is going to be something that again, is one of those tools that I really love in Construction Online because it does so much. And that's making sure that in addition to working with Construction Online and building your projects, one of the first steps that you'll want to take is to complete your public profile. Now that public profile page, and we'll go ahead and take a look at our settings here, and we'll jump into my profile. But your public profile page is actually going to serve as a login into those portals for all of your extended team members. So when we look at building this is where the gateway really for your extended team to be able to go ahead and log on. But it actually does so much more. The public profile is also serving as essentially a one-page website for your company. So for those of you who already have a website in place and you've built that out, you can definitely link to this. It's an easy way to just put a little link on your website that says, client login or subcontractor login. But if you maybe don't already have a website built, then the public profile can actually serve in place of that and is a great way to publicize your company and send that information out to prospective clients.
Mm-hmm. And it's included with all of our Construction Online accounts by default, isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Every single Construction Online account by default is going to receive a public profile. Now, as I click through some of these settings, you'll notice that this is where, as the administrator for my company, I'm able to come in and really control what's going to show up in that profile. You'll notice that we do note a shortcut here. So my profile is going to be Gibson Construction. We'll go ahead and preview that in just a moment. Notice that as every step along the way, you have the option to go ahead and preview what that looks like. And this really allows you to personalize your public profile page, make it your own. So you're able to add, of course, a company logo. You're going to be able to add some background image here, some nice photo galleries for your clients or potential clients to view. I love testimonials, so I've come to my page and added, different testimonials. It's a great way for any client when they're logging in. Every time they come to this page, they're going to get a dose of what your company is all about and be able to really see that and read that. And then you'll notice that here you do have the login area, and this is where a ClientLink member or a TeamLink member is going to actually log in and access those portals.
Once you have your public profile established, the next component that we're going to look at is actually, we would potentially start looking into setting up our project team. But before we get to that point, I think we should take one slight step back and make sure that we know exactly what we're sharing with our clients and with our subcontractors.
That's right. One of the most common questions that people will have for me when I'm working with them as we're getting started or kind of taking a look at how this information gets shared is, well, how can I control that? And one of the things that we've done with Construction Online 2019 is make it much easier for you guys to establish those settings and then preview how those changes are going to impact your portal, be able to actually go in and take a look and see exactly what your ClientLink members or what your TeamLink members are able to see and work with as they're accessing the portals. It's super easy to actually adjust those settings. You'll notice in your drop down here, you've got ClientLink and TeamLink settings. This is something we've really brought to the forefront with Construction Online 2019 just because of the popularity of these tools. And so now you have kind of one page or setting area where you can come and just it couldn't be more simple. We're just going to check off what we want to use in the portal for our ClientLink members, and then we're going to check off and do the same thing for our TeamLink members here.
Yeah, it really establishes a lot of control over the different elements of your projects for your clients, and it really lets you customize your client's experience. It helps you make things a little easier for your subcontractors to really focus on. So there's a lot of benefits to really having this level of control. You can see as we look through, we can turn on or off entire access to some features, and there's some other components that let us control some slight details, like, well, do we want to show the full schedule, or do we just want to give our clients access to a friendlier calendar view so that they don't get lost or concerned or start asking questions that might take away from the work that you're actually performing for them. Over the years, I've worked with some clients who refuse to show schedules to their clients, period, because it would completely derail their process. And I've worked with other customers of ours who cannot work without showing their clients their entire schedule. And so we have really worked hard to make sure that you have the level of control that you need to successfully execute your projects.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think the great thing about the way these ClientLink portals and TeamLink portals are set up in ConstructionOnline is that it really does give you the flexibility to adjust these settings based on the type of relationship that you have or want to have with your clients. Serving a broad client base, we've, again, with over 600,000 users, we've worked with all sorts of you doing different types of work, from, high-end residential jobs to commercial projects to more, maybe things that are a little bit in between, like your multifamily or, just all different types of things. And so with those different job types are going to come different ways that you really want and need to be able to relate to your clients. And so the flexibility that you have here really allows you to set up your ClientLink portal in such a way that you're able to really communicate out relevant information, share with your clients or with your subcontractors exactly what they need, without worrying that they're going to get access to things that they don't, or maybe things that would be, confusing or just a little bit more internal information. So super easy to set that up. When we think about who the different user types are, your ClientLink contacts, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but your ClientLink users are usually going to be, of course, your clients or your customers. And so, on a residential project, that's typically going to be the homeowner or, who you're working for. In some cases, if you're doing, building homes that you're selling, say partway through the construction project, maybe that ClientLink user isn't assigned until later. So again, you definitely have the flexibility. On commercial jobs, we see that these ClientLink contacts are usually going to be, your owners, sometimes your owners' reps or investors in the project. Again, anyone that we really want to be able to share information with who's not necessarily an internal employee there. Now, your TeamLink members are typically going to be subcontractors, suppliers, that extended team. So again, we're looking at team members who need to be kept in the loop. We want to set up a great portal for them and control that information, but we really don't want to give them access to everything. So this is going to empower you to do that. Now, assigning these different users to the project team, again, super simple. When you're working within a project, so I've just selected my Smith Residence project, selected the team tab here, and all I'm going to have to do is just add a contact, and this is where I would choose who my client is for this job. So we're going to do the same thing for your TeamLink members. The great thing is, because we've already configured our ClientLink and TeamLink portals to contain the information that we want, we really don't have to do anything special here. We just assign the ClientLink member or the TeamLink member.
And then from that point, they're sent a really straightforward email that says, hey, Gibson Construction has set up a project for you in ConstructionOnline and has invited you to join the project. And then from that point, they will just follow through the email and they're off to the races. They're in the newly updated, couldn't be more beautiful ClientLink and TeamLink portal, depending on who you send it to. But I guess we'll get to it in a moment, because there's a few other tiny pieces that we want to make sure we have in place first.
That's exactly right. Well, now that we've covered kind of the setup part, which again, super easy. So we've set up our public profile. We have configured our portals to contain what we want them to contain. Now let's talk a little bit about the ClientLink members and TeamLink members accessing their portals. I think we'll take a look at ClientLink first, and this gives us a good chance to just talk a little bit about what clients expect, because what we're really seeing is that your clients at this point really do expect to get information on their project. Almost everyone at this point is really used to and familiar with using different types of technology and apps and having information at their fingertips. And so what we've seen from our clients is that, you know, along with the convenience factor of being able to use something like this, it's really become just about a requirement to have some sort of technology in place that your customers can use to access information about their projects.
Yeah, and if you are familiar with this, you'll know exactly how this feels, but the demands on you to provide that information can end up stealing away a lot of the time that you need to be spending to make sure that those projects are moving forward. It reaches a point sometimes where the demands on information from you can get to the point where it's eclipsing or completely overshadowing the information or the work that you're trying to produce. And so what we are really hoping, and what we've seen that our systems are doing for our clients, is that it is giving them time back by providing that information to clients or subcontractors without demanding so much attention and so much manual effort to put together, 50 different emails to send out to people for reminders, or 5 different back and forth exchanges with a client just so that they know when something is scheduled to happen at their property, things like that. And so we're really, really excited to see how much time we're going to be giving back to you this year in 2019.
Yeah, that's right. And it's so fun to think about the way that technology has changed a bit over the last several years. I've been around here at UDA for a while, and when I think back, say 5, 6, 7 years ago, sometimes I would have builders to be maybe a little uncertain about using a portal, or feel like that hey, I maintain a very personal relationship with my clients. We want that to be very hands-on. But what we're seeing now is that really doesn't change. You can still have the relationship with the clients that you want, but this really acts as this a complement to that, just this really extra layer of customer service that you're able to provide to your clients, to your owners, again, to that extended team, to be able to put information at their fingertips Saturday night at 11 o'clock when they're thinking about their project and they're excited and they want to be able to see some of those pictures, or they want to be able to remind themselves of what's coming up next week. They're able to do that really anytime and have that information accessible, from anywhere. So kind of looking through our Smith Residence project here, you can see that we've got files. In my financial section, I've got things like selections, perhaps change orders. When we're looking at projects and how that information is shared with clients, those are some of the most common things that I see people using. We want to be able to share pictures. We want to be able to have them, have some visibility on their change orders or just shared documents. So as we set that up and kind of have designated our client, then our clients are going to be able to log in and see that. So let's take a look at what the brand new portal looks like for ConstructionOnline 2019 and what that's going to look like from a client perspective. I've actually logged in as a client, so I'll show you guys exactly what they would be seeing. But one other thing that we've added for ConstructionOnline 2019 is an easier way for you guys to preview exactly what your clients and what your subcontractors or TeamLink members are going to see. So again, right back to this drop down, you can always choose preview portals, and then you're going to be able to choose exactly which client or which TeamLink member we want to preview. You would make a selection, and then it will show you any project they're assigned to. You'll be able to go right into preview mode, and it'll show you exactly what they're going to see when they log in. So if you ever are sharing things and maybe you're a little bit curious about what is this going to look like for my client, this is a great way to keep your eye on that. Really, anytime you can log in and see that information.
Yeah, and you'll see in a moment, this is almost one for one what your client is going to see when they log in, or what your subcontractor is going to see when they log in. Now, there are a few things that in the preview mode are disabled, like approving change orders for your clients. There is another place to do that in the platform if you need to, but we don't promote identity theft. We love security, so you will see there's a slight difference, but as you can see, Holly has brought over the actual client portal. We're logged in now as Polly. Polly ClientLink. It's pretty easy to
Polly and Holly. You see why I chose that?
That's funny.
Yeah, so what I've done here is just actually gone into my public profile, used Polly's login, and actually logged into the actual portal so that we can see from a client perspective. In a moment, we'll step over and take a look as well as at what that's going to look like from a TeamLink perspective. Because one of the cool things, of course, that you can do here is, designate different layers of availability for clients, which may be different than what you want your TeamLink members or subcontractors to see. In my portal here, I've chosen to share with my clients, of course, files and pictures. I have chosen to share the schedule with Polly here. We can see that this customer has 5 selection choices and a change order that needs their attention. So when they first log in, they're going to be able to see, of course, a beautiful image that you've loaded for them of their project. They'll be able to see a calendar. And one thing that I'll point out about the calendar that I really, really love is that it is, of course, the schedule is going to show here, but we also have those due dates, so the client can see exactly when they're supposed to make those selections. That's going to show up on the calendar for them. They have a change order that needs to be approved by the 5th, so that's going to show on their calendar here. So those are items that will be visible to them just by logging in, and then the system easily directs them to go to the areas that need their attention.
Next up, when you come down just a bit, we have some additional information about the project. We'll start with the weather, because that one is a little more obvious, a little more apparent, so that we can move on to PhotoStream, because I think that this addition to ConstructionOnline 2019 is going to be such a game changer, because it's, in my opinion, it's so simple, so intuitive, but it's also so powerful and so valuable, because PhotoStream is going to take the photos that you or your team or your subcontractors are uploading to the project, and once shared with your client, make it really easy for them to see progress on the job site from a visual perspective. Mm-hmm. There really is something to say about photos being worth far more than the words it takes to describe them. I think that the overused cliche is a picture's worth 1,000 words, but in this case, there's really something to be said about a series of photos showing their project coming to life day by day, week by week. So we're really, really excited to see not only your reaction to PhotoStream, but how your clients and really how your entire team reacts to keeping up with your project in a different, interesting way.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, pictures are such an easy visual way to communicate to your clients exactly what's going on the job site. Of course, they want to go in and read that additional information, and we need them to interact with the system. But adding in photos and especially progress photos just really keeps them in the loop, and it's such an easy way to do that. It takes about 5 seconds to snap a few pictures with the app, load those right into the project. It's going to just be right there for the client. Again, you will decide which pictures you want to share, so we're not going to automatically just share any picture you take with the client, but it's just such a great way to keep them involved. Now, you'll notice that the new ClientLink has a lot of similarities to your new ConstructionOnline 2019, but we've also added some enhancements and features that are designed specifically for your customer to use and work with. You'll notice that they have some options right here on the left so that they can easily get in touch with you, so they can easily adjust maybe some settings as far as how they're receiving updates out of the system. So those are all easy things that they can do here. They have your team area as well, but for your customers, this looks a little bit different. For our clients, what we have control over who shows up in this list, so it's not automatically going to list everyone. And I'll actually show you guys kind of what that looks like if we kind of do a corresponding view here. Back in my ConstructionOnline, when I'm kind of setting up the project, I have an area in my project details called key roles. Now, these key roles are the things that we would select. You can check these boxes to show in your ClientLink and TeamLink portal. So this means that if you have people on the project team that you want the client to be able to contact easily, we can assign them a role, and then we can check the box if we want them to show up. Now, of course, we can also choose to keep some of those team members a little more private, or maybe they're just not going to be the best primary point of contact for your customer. And so you can pick and choose who shows up in the list. So of course they have their list of their project team, but this is really controlled by you. And anytime they can see contact information that you've listed, maybe a phone number, and also have the option to go ahead and send you a message right out of the system, just by viewing who's on their project team, so they always know who to go to with questions if they have questions or feedback for you here. Now, when we look at other things that we've shared with our clients, I will say that, again, going back to those photos, Jordan, I think that files and pictures are probably a couple of the most common things that I see people using in their ClientLink and TeamLink portals pretty much all the time. You all have documentation. We've talked about this, that you all have documentation that you have to manage. There are always going to be people on the project team, and definitely those clients who are going to need access to this. This is just such an easy, convenient way to be able to share those files and pictures and other documents with our clients.
Yeah, that's right. It's so convenient for you to make a file accessible to your clients at any point in time that I really don't know how much I can overemphasize this point. There's such an advantage to making files and photos available to your client in the same system where you're keeping them up to date on change orders or their selections that are coming up for the project. That, again, I really don't know how much I can encourage you to at least consider sharing files in this way, even if you're sending copies via email. If you also add the files in and then share them with your clients or with your subcontractors through the portal, they'll also receive an email about that, depending on their notification settings. But there really is something to be said for on-demand file access, because it's much, much better than having to quickly put together an email to send out to a client at 11:30 at night, because they are banging down the doors. You're also dealing with 5 or 6 other clients at the same time, and they just want to know where the project is at. And now you can get ahead of the curve and take back some of that time to spend actually working on executing those projects.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, the client always is going to have access to this. So even if you send them an email separately, which you can do, but like Jordan said, the system will do that for you. This is just such a great way for them to always have that access. And it'll also be a great way for you to kind of keep up with what's happening as well. We can see here back in my portal as the administrator in ConstructionOnline and the person who's in charge of this project, I can now see, oh, look, my client here downloaded a document. So when they go in and access those files and download the things that you've shared with them, you're being notified about that. And that keeps not only the client in the loop, but that really keeps you and your team in the loop as to what your clients are doing, what information they're perhaps revisiting frequently, and that sort of thing with the portal.
Well, and this record has already come up with some of our early access users. I remember a situation in which one of our customers had claimed that they hadn't received certain documents for their project. Well, that's impossible because they could see that client had downloaded the document 3 times in the period of a month. So it really does help to cut down on some of those situations. It gives you a lot more ammunition and control, and helps you cut down on some of those situations as well.
It does. Well, it gives everyone involved more visibility, which you'll hear me say frequently, at least, that's always a good thing for running a project successfully. Now, if we look at how do we transfer the files from our file section to the clients, because you can see that with my files, I have quite a few folders and pictures and documentation that I've got. Not all of these are yet visible to my clients. Some of them are, but some of them are not. So if we want to share or can I copy any of these, you'll just select a right click, copy over to ClientLink, and at this point it's going to ask me if I want to share this with all the clients on this job, or if you have multiple clients or owners on a particular project, you can choose to share files or pictures privately, maybe with an individual, which is really convenient on those jobs where you do maybe have an investor and an owner's rep or multiple parties involved on the customer end. So you do have, again, control over who sees what. So as we, copy this information over, that will go ahead and make that available to our clients in the portal. And then the next time they log in, they're going to see that information, available right here. So you can see now we've got some additional photos that they're able to see. They can open those up. They can, from this point, even maybe share the picture on their, social media. They could share it on their, Facebook page or their Instagram or, some of that social media option as well. Let's see. I think that was just a big file, you guys. So, but the client can, kind of do the things with it that they would want to do from a client perspective. And when you think about how excited clients often are about the projects that, maybe you're working on for them, especially on the residential side, we often see a lot of that, excitement, and they're pretty attached to their job. So it's great for them to be able to take those pictures, share them, promote your company a little bit. So, one more way that you are, of course, able to use the ConstructionOnline platform to grow your business as well.
Mm-hmm. And there's a very easy way to review what files you've shared with your clients and your subcontractors as well. If you notice back on our side, we have sections for reviewing the ClientLink files that we've currently shared, and the files with our TeamLink users or subcontractors that we've shared. And from this point, we could come in and say, quickly remove or adjust or manipulate files within the client portal just from here. It's a lot easier to identify, well, what have we shared so far? What can they see? And then adjust it if we need to.
That's right. Super easy.
Mm.
So one of the things that we see people, using kind of even over and above your files and your pictures is a little bit of interaction with the clients. Now, even on the file area, the client can interact, of course, and upload files for you. So they have the ability to go ahead and upload files. You'll get notified that the client has done that. So if there are things that they want to share with you, they're able to do so. So again, kind of making that collaborative. But we are also able to use the portal to do things like get the client to sign off on approvals for changes to the job, or perhaps make their selections, or approve and respond to things like submittals and RFIs that you might be dealing with if you're working on, commercial projects. So all of that can be made available in the portal for them here. If we go back to our overview, we notice that the system has alerted our client here that they do have a change order that needs their attention. So they would only just click on this. They're going to head over to our change order section, and from here be able to see exactly what you've loaded for them. Now, the great thing here is that once we've assigned someone as a client to make that available in their portal, all you would have to do is just create a change order. So they're a client on the job. When we add a change order into the system and mark that as pending client approval, it's automatically going to send them an email alerting them that there is a new change order awaiting them. They'll see that notice when they first log in, of course, to their portal, and it will be available for them to approve. So to make a change order, you're just going to do that here, add new, fill out the form. So that's super easy. And then what the client sees on their side, of course, now is, hey, here's my change order. So they get to see exactly what's available to them. And of course, go ahead and make that approval. So here it's going to ask me as the client, hey, do we really want to approve this? But I definitely do. And then it's also going to ask me for a signature. So your customer can go ahead and sign right here with their mouse or maybe with their finger, depending on the device that they're using. Hit submit. And now you, as the project manager or administrator for this project or project team internally at your company, will be notified by email that the client has in fact gone in and made this approval on their change order. The client can now see a running total of their initial price. Here's where we started. accepted change orders, how much that's added to our budget, how much time that's added to the duration of this job. And they can also, of course, see if there's anything else out there pending, or maybe change orders that they've chosen to not go with. A record of that is all going to be right here for them.
Now, I've had questions come up recently actually, to ask, okay, so after a client approves a change order, is there any way we can show this or document this? Like, is this binding? I don't know if you noticed this or not, but there was a very clear message at the bottom of that change order approval window that said, by clicking accept, you agree to the terms set forth in this change order. But for those of you who have the approach that it's not real unless it's in writing, we've set up something really, really special for you here, and that's a change order contract that you can generate for any approved change orders, which will actually take whatever your client or whoever approved the change order entered into that signature field and apply it to the bottom of this contract. So if you like keeping hard copies of documents, all you have to do is print this out, sign and date yourself, and so now you're running away with yet another approved change order.
Now you're done. So think about, we're kind of doing this as we go along here. Think about how easy that was to get that documentation. We know that change orders can be a place where, you can make money. They can also be a place where you can lose a lot of money if they're not documented properly. But all I really have to do is fill out a form, and that sets in motion this nice chain of events that's really keeping me informed, my team informed, keeping myself and my customer on the same page. I can see on my overview, again, just like with the file, we're able to see, hey, this change order has been approved. I can go right to the change order, see exactly what's happening. Of course, I'm going to get that in my email. And then when we print that document, the client has already provided a signature, and that's going to show up for us.
Yeah, it really, really will cut down on the amount of time it takes to get signed documentation. In fact, if you want on-the-spot signatures, you can take the ConstructionOnline mobile app with you, meet with your client, talk through the specifics of the change order in question, and then actually turn the device around and have them sign off with their fingertip on the spot to approve the change order. There's so much you can do to really improve your efficiency here, and we're really excited to be showing you exactly how you can do that today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly right. Just there's so much that it makes easier. One other common area where I see, especially on the residential side, but I actually see a number of my commercial clients too, depending on the type of the job, using the selection tool, and the ClientLink portal is a really great way to facilitate that process of really managing the selections, making the approvals, and getting the client interaction with that. Sometimes what I'll hear from my builders is that the clients are so excited about their project, and they really, are excited to look at those selections, but maybe don't always realize the impact that not doing that on time might have on the budget for the project, or the timeline for the project, or the way that it works in terms of being able to actually order the materials needed to have them on site on time to actually start that part of the project. It's something that the clients don't always know, and that's okay, but we have designed a system to really help not only make it interactive and fun for them, but also help really keep the client on track in terms of the selections process. Now, again, now that we have assigned a client to our project here, Smith Residence, there's not going to be anything special that I need to do in order to make these available, except just check that box and turn it on in the portal. But once I've done that, now that I've started to make selections here, we can see that my client needs to do some approvals for appliances and plumbing fixtures, in a kitchen that I'm working on for them. So if we go down, we can see, okay, I've actually loaded in some options for them using our great selection picker tool. Some nice pictures, nice information about what their allowance is. So, there's kind of the fun part of making the choice. And then there's, of course, the financial part of making sure that we know exactly what that allowance is. As a client, am I going over or under? And of course, they're able to see all of that. So these are the selections that I've loaded in. And if we head over to Polly's portal, you'll notice in her area, again, let's go back to that overview. She can already see that there are 5 selections that are going to need her approval. So if we go ahead and click there, then that's all going to be available to her here. So she's going to be able to see a nice summary that lets us know, okay, here's our categories, here's what my allowances perhaps are if those are assigned. And then each of these selections, of course, does have a due date associated with it that is going to show up on the calendar for our client. The system also does a great job of sending out reminders. So if the selection has not been approved, ConstructionOnline will automatically send a reminder to just nudge the client to come back and make these choices by the deadline that you've set.
Yeah, what we found is that when clients are reminded of what their role in the project is, that they're much more likely to engage and actually give you the information that you need to move the project forward, like telling you which dishwasher they'd like. And in fact, having the choices laid out in such a visual and easy to approve way really has improved our customers' time to achieving actual approvals. It's really all about visibility when it comes down to it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it keeps that visibility front and center for everyone. Now, just like with the change orders, if the client comes in, makes a choice, we're going to go ahead and approve that. So it will, again, capture that signature for Polly. And now we can see that the other choices have now effectively disappeared. The client can see that they had an allowance of $3,500, but actually approved a refrigerator that was a little bit fancier. So now we've gone over, but that's okay because it's all very much visible to our clients. And of course, that's going to be visible to you. Outside of that, then you'll be receiving, of course, the notification alerting you that the client has made the approval. If you've chosen to perhaps tag a vendor or TeamLink member on that selection, they can also receive those updates. So again, facilitating the communication piece of just keeping everybody on that project informed and really helping your clients to feel a part of the process.
There's also something really, really nice that we've added into the portals, especially on the selections page. If you noticed up at the top right, there's an option for your client to generate their own report or document, is what we're going to call it for them to make it sound a little less scary or formal, but we've given ways for your client to pull some of this information out and print it out themselves. You know, what we found is that people still really love their paper, so we found a really nice way to encourage using the platform, using the portals, while also still giving those people who just can't let go of paper a way to pull out and kind of look at some of these things on their own time.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that as I've worked with people that they really love about the selections in ConstructionOnline is this selections book. It's a super popular document that we allow you to generate with ConstructionOnline, mainly because of how useful it is. I mean, when we're looking at providing great service to our clients, this selection book allows you to generate exactly that, you know, a record of all the selections that they've made so that they have the information on the exact, you know, model of appliance or, you know, the exact paint color, what they've used for their finishes so that they can refer to that, you know, over and over again throughout the life of their, you know, home or building or project. That information's always accessible. And so, of course, you can provide that to them and they can actually print that up right here. So once they're done making their selections, they can go ahead and, you know, create that and have that record. The other thing with the portal and selections is that, you know, the client can add an option as well. So here I've loaded up some dishwasher options, but maybe if I've recommended a vendor for my client and they've gone and located something they want to use here, or maybe I don't even want to load up choices. We know what the budget is. I'm telling you what vendor to use. The client can actually come in and create choices themselves. They can use the selection picker add-on so that they can pull those details from any website or enter them in manually. And if your client takes advantage of this, then it's going to, again, notify you and ask for your approval. So again, we're not going to automatically allow them to just add anything in, but it is a fun way of facilitating that communication and helping the client get that over to you so that you can decide, yeah, this looks like this option could work, or maybe you have to say no, it won't. But it's a great way of keeping a record of all of those things.
Right, and it makes it much easier to view exactly what your clients or really whoever's using the selection section at this point has suggested, instead of having to track back through your emails to see, well, where was that one throwaway message that they sent that said, well, we wanted the whirlpool. It's much easier to find.
So if your client wants to send you a message, so when we look at other ways to use the portal, it would be, just from overall communication. Of course, they can work with those selections, they can work with those change orders, but if they just want to send a simple message, then they're able to do that as well. So, they can just type it in just like they're typing a regular email. I mean, there's nothing really for them to learn, but it does keep a much better record of this interaction than kind of your standard email programs, because it's all going to be organized around these clients and around these projects.
Yeah, and this is really interesting, because I think we're going to take this message and leverage a bit of the information in it for the project later on when we move over to look at the TeamLink portal, which you'll see there are some similarities, but there are also some things that stand out on the TeamLink portal that really make it an effective tool for you to use to communicate to your subcontractors and other people who are helping you execute this project.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if we kind of wrap up what we're looking at with our clients here, you can see that here's the message that the client sent. You're going to have that back available in your ConstructionOnline portal. And of course, that's going to just come to your regular email as well, so that anybody can respond from wherever they are. And then, anything that we've shared on the project calendar, if we want a longer view, we give them a snapshot view when they log in, but they can always kind of go back and have this longer view if you've given them access to see the schedule. So a ton of great information for your client. Now let's take a look at what those subcontractors are going to see and how that might look a little bit different than what we're seeing in the client portal here. So we'll go ahead and pull this over. Now, just like with your clients, please note that the preview option works just as well for your subcontractors. So if we're wanting to look at our TeamLink members, really see what they have access to in ConstructionOnline, that preview option is always going to be available to you, and you can use that to look in on any of these portals, get a feel for what those ClientLink and TeamLink members are seeing. So it works exactly the same way. What I've done here, just to get us out of preview mode, is go ahead and log in as one of my TeamLink members. So this time we're logged in as my TeamLink member, Ted, and we'll see that it's very similar in terms of the way the portal works, but we've actually made some tweaks that are especially useful for people in the TeamLink role, for our subcontractors or extended team members, vendors, suppliers. Those types of project team members are going to differ from your clients, of course, so we have made some adjustments that are especially useful there.
Yeah, so the first one that's very clear standout here are project announcements. Now, project announcements have been a part of ConstructionOnline for some time now, but we've really brought them to the front and center because it's such a useful tool for you to quickly get a message out to everyone on your project team who's involved in the actual work being done. So you can see when your subcontractor logs into the portal for the first time, or maybe when they log into the portal period, the first thing that they see, front, top left, and center, if you think about the way that you're looking at the page, your eyes are going to land directly onto these project announcements. Now, we've given you some ways to enhance the message that's coming across. You can see that the most important project announcement is actually pinned. If we actually look back over at our side of the platform as the GC, there's an option when you're putting a project announcement together to actually pin it to the top so that it doesn't actually leave the project announcements dashboard. And you can see the next few announcements underneath that pin announcement. And then, of course, you could see all of the announcements that have been listed for the project. But it's a really great way to quickly communicate to your entire team, extended team, not just your office, important information about the project.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the announcements are one of the things that in Construction Online 2019 have gotten a little bit of a makeover. The announcements have been a really popular feature in Construction Online since it started. But of course, we've added so many fantastic tools to Construction Online that with Construction Online 2019, one of the things that we wanted to accomplish was really, giving you an easy way to make those announcements front and center. So we've added some nice enhancements to the way that they work and really made those more visible for you in this TeamLink portal, which is super useful. It's just such a great way of communicating. Again, making an announcement, just like everything else in Construction Online, is so easy. If I come to my Smith Residence project, I'll have my announcements here. We just type up a new one. You can see with mine that you can, make them, larger or smaller. We can assign a priority, kind of depending on the nature of the announcement there. So you're able to make that. And then once we share the announcement, we can go ahead and have it send out an email, of course. And then also it's going to show up in the portal. So again, super easy. Now, just like with your ClientLink members, your TeamLink members are going to have some communication options to quickly contact you as the project creator or manager. They will have a team option so that they would be able to have access to internal people at your company and quickly send messages their way, as well as adjust their settings. Now, the other thing that's going to be unique about our TeamLink portal, and something that our TeamLink members will have, is access to a game plan right here on the page. So I know many of you really love our game plan feature that sends out those automated emails. It's such a great and efficient way of really taking the information that you've loaded into Construction Online, compiling it, doing the work of just making a list of who needs to do what, sending that out to them. So that game plan email, super powerful. And what we've done is translated that to the TeamLink portal so that your TeamLink members will not only receive their game plan through email, but they'll always have a game plan right here on the front page that will let them know exactly what they're assigned to over the upcoming next couple of weeks. So here, my TeamLink member Ted is able to see a nice calendar view. He can see that he's been assigned to a punch list item that's going to be due by today, actually. He can see what he's responsible for on the project schedule, and I can choose to allow him to see everything, or in this case, limit it only to those items where he's been explicitly assigned. So again, back to being able to really control how your TeamLink members interact with Construction Online. That's one more way that you can do that. And then of course on his game plan, he's going to see that he has his kind of weekly safety meeting on Monday. We can see what scheduled tasks are coming up, and that there is some paint damage on a punch list item that he needs to get addressed ASAP. So all of that's going to be available to him here, along with, of course, the map and the weather and any photos that we choose to share with him. This is also where photos that the TeamLink member takes and uploads will also appear there for them to review as well, so they can always see what they've added and contributed to the system.
So, Holly, I just thought of something. We just got a message from our client asking if they could potentially stop by and visit the project or come and visit their property while it's being worked on. We could make that happen, but we have a couple of things that we need to do beforehand. The first one, of course, is touching up some of that paint damage, but I also think that this is an ongoing project. We probably need to let our team know that they need to get ready for a client visit. So maybe we could set up a to-do item for Ted to make sure that when he's finished with his safety meeting that he's going to be at on Monday, maybe he needs to go ahead and make sure that he cleans up some of the job site, so that by Tuesday, the client isn't having to step through potentially just waste material or whatever might just be left over from the end of the day on Monday.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. So if we wanted to assign a task, so if we look at things that are maybe outside the schedule, but, the great example, and I think a realistic one, clients are going to come to the job site. This will allow us to be able to create a to-do list item for our client here. Not for our client, although I guess we could, but in this case, I've chosen to turn off to-dos with the client. We would be able to just create a new to-do item here. So we'll say clean up job site, give it a due date of, let's say, Monday, add in any notes that we wanted them to know, and of course, go ahead and assign that resource. Once we've created that to-do, it's now going to show up right in the portal for Ted, our TeamLink member, to be able to, come in and get that completed for us. Now, of course, he's going to, receive an alert or an announcement kind of based, or a notification based on his settings. But now, of course, it's going to show up, in his portal as well. So now we have a to-do list item that's due. We can see that he's got a little alert here to let him know that that's what he needs to get done. And just like with the ClientLink portal, all he has to do is click on that item, come over, he can read any notes that you've entered for him here, and when he's done, go ahead and check that off so that you know, hey, this is done, and you'll get that announcement right back. So again, great way of facilitating that communication with you, the extended project team of your TeamLink members there. Just like with some of the items we saw, of course, in ClientLink, this is where we come back and see now on our project timeline some great visibility. I can see that I made a to-do. I can see that my TeamLink member, Ted, went ahead and marked that as complete. I can also see the message that my client sent me. So everything that is happening on the job, again, I'm seeing that, all just within my portal, my own portal here in ConstructionOnline.
Yeah, there's a lot of information coming at you, especially as the company owner or someone who is trying to manage multiple projects at one time. So we have the system set up now to send you an immediate notification or message when something has happened on your project. But the project will also act as a second set of items or a second memory for you to hold in place the important things that are happening on your project, just to keep you in the loop. Mm-hmm. That way you're not trying to juggle 20 different things at the same time. You can focus on one project and then move right on to the next, and then right on to the next project after that.
All while staying, completely up to date on everything. Mm-hmm. Now, a couple of other things that, TeamLink members, I will frequently see my customers use is the daily logging. Of course, they can do this and have access to this, on a mobile device as well, but also here within their TeamLink portal, within their project tracking section, they can go ahead and enter any sort of daily logs that you have asked them to do. This would be a great way to take advantage, in ConstructionOnline of that project logging reminder system. So if we want Ted to make sure that he enters, a work log perhaps every single day, we can of course go ahead and create a reminder for him so that we're like, okay, when we need this work log every single day and we want it, in place by 5 o'clock. We could go ahead and save that. So he's going to be receiving those reminders. Let's see, we'll get that set up. Now, all he has to do is, of course, log into the portal, and then enter his daily log. So he can say, hey, I was on the job site today for 8 hours. Here's some photos, perhaps, of what I got done. Some notes about, what I finished, completed. If he can spell better than me, completed cabinet installation here. Save, and then you're going to get that notification that work log was posted. That's always going to be available to him here as a record, so he can see exactly what he submitted, and then you're going to get that as well in your portal. Of course, with other things like we looked at with your selections or change orders, if we've chosen to include our TeamLink member on that, it would show up in the portal here. In my case, I decided not to. I wanted that really to be between me and my client, and so you can see that in this case, the TeamLink member is just alerted that there's nothing that you need to do here. And then just like with those ClientLink members, the TeamLink member can come in and see a calendar or schedule available to them based on those permissions that you've put in place. In this case, for my TeamLink member, I've chosen to only allow Ted to see items that are assigned directly to him. So I don't want him to see the entire schedule. I just want him to see what's assigned to him. And so that's what's going to show up when he looks at his calendar here. You'll notice that that's significantly fewer tasks than what I have on mine, and that's because of those permissions at work. Now, just like you, the TeamLink member is going to be able to see a super easy calendar view. This agenda or list view is available to them. They can look at this day by day. So, super easy for them to use and stay up to date on not only what's coming up maybe this week or next week, but if they're assigned to things over the coming weeks, they can see that and coordinate accordingly. Okay, so we are coming up on right at the top of the hour. I've enjoyed so much showing you guys ClientLink and TeamLink for Construction Online 2019 today. I do think that we are running out of time though at this point. I've kept an eye here and it does look like that we've had a ton of great questions. I love how interactive you guys have been this afternoon and appreciate you spending or investing some time with me this Friday afternoon. What we'll go ahead and do now is wrap up the main portion of our webinar here, but Jordan and I are going to hang out, review some of the questions that you guys have submitted, and go ahead and run through answering some of those. So if you'd like to stay on for the Q&A portion here, definitely do so. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to have you continue to submit some questions for us. We'll read through those and go ahead and step through some of those in a moment. If you do need to go ahead and wrap up, then we again thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. Hope that you'll get a chance very soon to use the brand new ClientLink and TeamLink portals with your customers and extended team members. And also want to take just a moment to remind everyone here that we do have 3 webinars continuing the series next week. So with Construction Online 2019 rolling out to our customers, we do want to introduce you guys to all the great new things that are available to you. We do have a recording available for the webinar we had earlier this week, and this one will be posted on our YouTube channel as well. Next week on Monday, we'll be hosting a webinar session to focus on document, file, and photo management. Wednesday, we'll have a session that will focus on scheduling and calendars and really how to work with the world's fastest scheduling platform in Construction Online. And then on Friday, we will wrap up the series with a session that focuses on the financial management, estimating, change orders, job costing, and really dive into how to use Construction Online for that. So with that, I hope you can join us for some of those additional sessions next week. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great weekend. We will pause just for a moment to take a look at some of the questions that you've submitted and some of the questions that Sydney has flagged for us to come back and answer live here, and be back with you in just a moment. So it didn't take long to see what our most popular question was, which doesn't surprise me. I think we have maybe the world's best clients, and you guys are always so excited about new things coming your way, and that's no different today. One of the questions that I've seen several of you ask is, okay, so when is this going to be available to me? When is this going to be available to everyone? So at this point, like I said, next week we'll be wrapping up this intro series for Construction Online 2019, and I'm expecting that to roll out to all clients, and of course that would mean your customers pretty soon after that. So stay tuned for updates and timeline information from us here at UDA. We'll be sure to let you know when that goes live in your portal, but that will be coming your way very, very soon. So it looks like as well that we did have a couple of questions about some of the communication and messaging tools available for you guys. One of the questions was messages and kind of do they show up in that company overview area? And so they absolutely do. When you receive a message, whether that's just initiated internally or perhaps initiated from one of your ClientLink or TeamLink members through their portal, of course that message is automatically kind of tagged or cataloged as being a part of that particular project. And so it will show up in the messages for the project. So for example, with my Smith Residence project, my messages here are going to show up in the communication section for Smith Residence, as well as in that overview timeline that we're seeing here. Now, the messages are also, regardless of project, going to show up in the company overview area. So this would be where any messages, for all projects are going to come together in one inbox for you, essentially, so that if you, just need one place where you can check to see, okay, what messages have I received? We can see that the exact same message here from Polly is going to be visible here. I can see that's related to my Smith Residence project, and I can go ahead and reply from this area as well. So that's all going to be visible to me, both in your company overview communications area, as well as, of course, the communication and messaging section of the individual project.
Right, and for those of you who haven't joined us from the webinar earlier this week where we were covering the new navigation updates in general, or for those of you who were wondering, from the company overview page, we can actually see there are a number of different pieces of information that are going to be coming in so that you can see from a higher level overview what information is flowing in from all of your projects. That's going to be found under the company overview area of ConstructionOnline New 2019.
That's right. Now, I know we also had a question on the messaging side about kind of limiting access for clients as to who they would be able to send messages to. With the new ConstructionOnline 2019 portal, one thing to note is that the client is limited to being able to send messages to people that are listed as part of that project team in their portal. So, when they go in there, the easiest way to restrict that is going to be to just restrict how you've set up who those key roles are. So when we look at those project details, and we look at these key roles, there's no way to force the client to have to email everyone, at the same time, but you can choose who shows up in the portal. Even if they have a role assigned, we can still go ahead and maybe deselect them and not have them show up. We just don't want everyone to show. We want only certain people. This would be where you could decide that, and then of course that's going to limit who the client is actually able to message or communicate with through the portal. We also had a request finally on the ClientLink side to just take a look at the selections picker tool. I can't resist. So we're 10 minutes after the hour, but I can't resist because it's one of my favorite tools. And as I had mentioned, it's something that is available both to you and then also to your clients as well. So if we look at a ClientLink member here, if they were kind of adding in selections, they would have the ability to use the selection picker tool, as would you. Now, as far as how to use it, the great thing here is that it really is just so easy. So when we choose to add a selection choice, we're going to be given a couple of options about how we want to do that. We can go ahead and install the selection picker tool. It's just going to give us something that we would drag into the favorites bar of our browser here. We'll let it go, and you can see that I now have this handy button. And now all I have to do is go to the website for the vendor that I may use. We're picking out a dishwasher, so a vendor here might be Home Depot. It's a pretty common store in our area. So we'll go in, take a look at dishwashers, and if the client has seen something, or if they're shopping, you can have them. They can, of course, just type in the details for you if they have an idea of something that they want to use. Or if they find something, online, perhaps, again, going back to having that weekend access, if they want to use something like this, then all they have to do is go ahead and hit that add selection. They're going to be able to assign it to any of their projects that have a category kind of available or open for them. So in this case, Polly, it has 2 jobs. We're going to choose Smith Residence. We're going to put that in dishwasher. We can do this. Again, the client can do this in this case here. The selection picker tool will pull as much information as it can off of this site. So it's just kind of grabbing as much of these details as possible, most especially these photos, which are so nice to be able to have added in, and then that just gets added in. So now that becomes part of what the client has submitted to you. So they're going to see this, but then also you're going to be notified that they have added. And you'll notice here for the client, they see, okay, this choice is pending a review by my builder. So as the builder, I'm now going to be notified that this was added. And if we go back to my portal and take a look, it's super cool. When I go into the selections now, I'm able to see that. Of course, I'm going to be notified that they've added this for me. And when I need to review it, I can come here, take a look, and review the details, confirm if I think this is a possible choice for this project, or I could reject it and have it show as no, this will no longer be able to be a choice here. So again, you as the contractor, as the builder, are still very much in control, while still giving such a great and fun way for the client to be involved. If these types of choices need to be made, if you need to manage this process, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and the fantastic thing about the selection picker tool is that it gives you a link directly to the page where the client pulled the information from, so that you can go in and review things like, well, this is definitely not going to be $0 here. So we can actually go in and double check and make sure that the information that they submitted is accurate, just in case.
Yeah, exactly. And so if we wanted to, we'll kind of step through the review process. We'll add in, any information that we need to add. Of course, if you needed to add a markup on top, often depending on the contract that you have with your customer, they may be aware that you are going to add, a certain amount of markup onto these. So you could certainly do that here. And then only upon your approval will it actually confirm and become one of the choices that they can now make in their portal. So great way of communicating that. Well, I think that we are out of time for questions. If we did not get to your question here at the end, be aware that we will review all of those once the webinar session is over, and feel free to reach out to us directly. Again, my name is Holly Gibson. I'm here with Jordan Davis. You can reach out to either of us. Our colleague Sydney, standing by on chat, always loves to hear from you guys as well. So feel free to get in touch with any of us or any of the UDA team here if you have additional questions or just want to know more about the ClientLink and TeamLink portals and the options available to you.
Thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. If we don't hear from you between now and the end of the week, we hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we hope that you'll join us next week as we continue showing off all of the new enhancements to Construction Online. Can't wait to see you again. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.